Time management is life management. It is personal management. Successful people, winners, use their time well. The question is, how badly do you want to learn how to manage your time well? How much effort are you willing to put into it? Because the key to time management is self-discipline. Time management is self-discipline in action, and self-discipline is the key to success. The first idea in excellent time management is to make a list. You will immediately improve your productivity by 25%. Make your list for the week, the Sunday or the Saturday before, and make your list for each day the evening before. Always work from a list. If you make a list the evening before, the subconscious goes to work on your list while you're asleep. You wake up in the morning with insights, ideas, intuitions, answers that will make your day more productive. If you don't have a list, it's like driving down the street in a car with no steering wheel. You just drift. The most important reason for using the list, though, is that when you use a list and you work down the list and check things off, each time you check something off on a list, it gives you a feeling of accomplishment. Point number 2, use the ABCDE method. A is a must do. Really unhappy, serious consequences if you don't do it. It's something you must do. B are things that you should do. Return a phone call, check your email. C activity is something that's nice to do. The rule is never do a B when there's an A left undone, never do a C when there's a B left undone. You'll find that most of your C activities will just die away because they're completely irrelevant to your life. Now D is something that you delegate. Delegate everything possible to free up time for the few things that only you can do that will really make a difference in your life. Now the third point, I call it the law of 3. There are only 3 things that you do in work that account for 90% of your value. And the way you find those 3 is you make a list of everything you should do in the course of a week or a month. You'll find that you do probably 10 or 20 things and you write them all down. You go over the list and you ask this magic question. If you could only do one thing all day long, which one activity contributes the greatest value to your work, the greatest value to yourself, the greatest value to your life? Now you'll know that because it'll pop off the page. The second thing you do is you then see if I could only do 2 things all day long, which would be number 2 and number 3. May take a little bit more thought, but if I could only do 3 things all day long, what would they be? Then as you look at that, you'll see that if I just did these 3 things all day long, I would contribute more value to my company than everything else I do, because everything else is in the 10%. If you don't know what these 3 things are, you're in great danger of wasting your career. Do fewer things, but do more important things, and do them more often, and get better at them. The key to success is always asking this question: what is the most valuable use of my time right now? That alone would be enough to make you an effective, efficient person. That alone would be enough to increase your productivity, your performance, your profitability, your rewards by 10, 20, 30, 40, even 50%. Now, the fourth principle for effective time management is to write it down. You're going to keep a diary of your activities, and you're going to be amazed by the distractions, detours, and downright waste of time that you come up with during the course of a day. Forces you to see what you're actually doing and what you're not doing. Just buy a little spiral notebook that you can easily carry in your pocket. When you go to lunch, when you drive across town, when you go to the dry cleaners, make a quick note of the time you began the activity and the time it ended. At least once every 30 minutes, and you should keep this up for at least a week. You will naturally and effortlessly begin to reorganize your life. Perhaps that seems like too much to believe, but it's true. Just try keeping a time diary for 1 week, and you'll see how it can revolutionize your ability to focus and achieve your goals. The fifth key idea in time management, which I am a fanatic on, is concentration. As a matter of fact, it is impossible for you to accomplish anything worthwhile in life without the ability to concentrate single-mindedly on one thing at a time and stay with it until it's complete. Now, people say, well, if I stay with this task until it's finished, I won't get anything else done. That doesn't matter if it's the most valuable thing that you have to do, the most important thing that you could be working on. When you complete an important task, your self-esteem goes up. But if you work away on low-priority tasks, even if you complete them and do them well, you don't get any bang for the buck. The sixth key to time management is the word no. If it is not the highest and best use of your time, refuse to do it. The greatest time waster in work is other people wasting your time. The rule is there's nothing wrong with idle chit-chat, but as Drucker says, if you spend more than 10% of your time in social interaction at work, then you are out of control of your time. So say no. Say, I'd love to talk to you now. Let's talk afterwards. Let's talk at lunch. The next principle, number 7, is deadlines and rewards. When you have an important task, the way that you motivate yourself to do the task is you structure a specific reward that you're going to get when it's finished. In other words, train yourself to have a positive consequence for everything that you do. So set deadlines. First of all, when you set the goal, when you specify the task, set the deadline when it's going to be accomplished. Always set the deadline with lots of room to spare, and always try to finish before the deadline. It's a powerful way to act as what is called a forcing system. A forcing system is something that motivates you to stay at it, because if you don't set a deadline and give yourself a forcing system, you fall into the trap of what is called Parkinson's Law. Now, Parkinson's Law says that work expands to fill the time allotted for it. That if you have 2 hours of work to do and 8 hours of time, you will stretch that work over 8 hours. Highly effective people are always setting tight, stringent, disciplined deadlines on themselves so they get more work done in a short period of time rather than less work done in a long period of time. The next principle is neatness. Every single study that has been done says this: if you will just clean up your work environment so it is completely neat and everything is off of your desk or your workplace, except the one thing you're working on, that will increase your productivity by 20 to 40%. How do you clean it up? It's called the traffic system. He stands for toss, R stands for refer, and F stands for file. Once you've done that, then you start with your action file and you work through it. Neatness is important. Here's the rule: if you're not using it, put it away. Neatness is critical to productivity. 98 of senior executives said they would not promote a messy person, that they would not give a messy person greater responsibilities. If you are messing with everybody around you, conclude that you are inefficient, undependable, unreliable, and incompetent. Number 9 is the thing called consequences, and we talked about this before. One of the thinking tools that you have to have is to look at everything that you do and ask yourself, does this have big potential consequences or not? And you'll find that most people spend most of the time working on things that have low or no consequences. At Harvard University, Banfield did 50 years of research into how it is that some people move up in the course of their working lifetime. The thinking characteristic of these people was a long-time perspective. They were thinking today of the consequences of their behaviors in terms of where they wanted to be in the future. So you'll find that top people are long-term thinkers. Average people are short-term thinkers. They only think about entertainment today, having fun today, enjoyment today, going home and watching television today. So you are the ones who are willing to do the work and make the sacrifices today in order to have a much better life for yourself and your family in the future, which means that you're in sort of not 10% of our society. Learning a new skill, even though it's very difficult at the beginning, can give you something you can use all your life. The next principle, number 10, is batching tasks. Batching your tasks is a major time management tool. It means that if you're going to make phone calls, make all your phone calls at once. So if you're going to do correspondence, do all the correspondence at once. It's been found that if you do this on a regular basis, you'll get so much more done by doing it and concentrating on batches of tasks than if you did not. So batch your tasks whenever you possibly can. Number 11, develop a sense of urgency. 2% of the population do things fast. 2% of the population have a bias for action. Until in Tom Peters' wonderful book, In Search of Excellence, he says, all the excellent companies have a bias for action. The excellent companies, you call up with a problem or complain, bang, there's somebody back to you in 2 minutes. So develop a reputation for speed and dependability, and your future will just open up in front of you. And if you'll develop that habit of working fast, that sense of urgency, act now, do it now, do it now, do it now. In selling especially, if somebody calls you up and has a question, get back to them now. Somebody has a problem, get back to them now. Somebody needs something, move on it quickly. If you have to forego coffee breaks or lunch or something else, move fast. If you develop that reputation for speed, it will be worth a fortune to you. All the excellent people, all the high performers have a sense of urgency. Okay, the next principle, delegate. Delegate everything that you possibly outsource. Have somebody else do it. Do not waste productive time dropping off laundry, getting your car washed, mowing your lawn, cleaning your house. Do not waste your productive time doing things that you can hire people to do for $5 or $10 an hour is that if you cannot delegate, if you cannot get other people to do things of lower priority for you, you cannot grow, you cannot develop, you cannot be successful. When you delegate, here are the keys. First of all, think through what you want done, write it down. Second of all, pick the right person to do it. Third of all, make it crystal clear what you want done and when you want it done. And fourth of all, check, review, inspect, keep on top of it to make sure it is done on time. Never assume that anybody or anything will be done on time unless you check on it yourself. The next one, number 13, is called work simplification. Today, it takes less than 3% of the farm population to feed the other 97% in the cities and half of the world besides. As a matter of fact, every great advance that has been made since the Industrial Revolution has been towards simplification. Always be looking for ways to do tasks faster, easier, cheaper, quicker, better. As a matter of fact, over and over again, individuals have put their careers on the fast track by finding ways to streamline existing processes. Here are the 6, maybe 7 key ideas. If you want to get more done in a given period of time, or if you want to get more done, period, you can do 1, you can work longer. Number 2 is you can work faster. Number 3 is you can do fewer things but do more important things, higher payoff tasks in the same period of time to increase your productivity. Number 4 is you can do things that you are better at. Another thing that you can do is make fewer mistakes. If you make fewer mistakes, you will get far more done within a certain time frame, maybe within that time period. And the last thing, which many people miss, is doing things together, teamwork. Putting a group of people together to work on a complex project can sometimes get the project done in 2 hours, whereas it would take another individual 8 or 9 or 10 hours. Those are the keys. But work simplification means always finding faster, easier, newer, quicker, cheaper, more efficient ways to do what you're doing. So the final point that I want to make, as Peter Drucker said, you cannot manage time. You can only manage yourself. And time management is really personal management. And then I realized that time management was not a planet that revolved around the sun of my life. Time management was the planet of my life, and everything else in my life was a planet that revolved around it. Time management is the ability to control the sequence of events, to decide what you do first, what you do second, what you do third, and what you do not do at all. All of life management, all of time management, all the quality of your life, and all your happiness and health and wealth, and everything that happens to you will be determined by the sequence of events that you choose. When you come home at night, don't turn on the television. Speak to the people who are there, communicate, talk to them, and rebuild relationships. What do most people do, men especially? Turn on the television. As soon as you turn on the television, all family communication stops. It's all over. And sit there and watch television because you may be physically present, but you're mentally and emotionally absent. These are all things that you can learn. And when you learn these things, the quality of your life explodes.